Matt Stafford to the Steelers, heating up. Also, Aaron Rodgers details what he's looking for out of his next team. All that and more. Big Deke News. Before we talk Stafford, wanted to briefly go over Aaron Rodgers and what he had to say he's looking for out of his next team. He was interviewed, I guess not really interviewed, more like bombarded, run up on by someone from TNZ as he was leaving a workout session or training and on his way to his car. And here's what Rodgers had to say.
How you doing, boss? How's offseason going for you at the moment? Nice one, man. You're in the West Coast. The weather's great. Do you see yourself potentially being in the West Coast in the future?
Oh, you're a paparazzi kid?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice.
Any chance of you being in the West Coast in the future?
I'm just enjoying the sunshine right now.
The sunshine's good. And look, last question I want to ask you. When choosing a team, what is something you take into consideration? Like, what factors?
What factors?
Yeah.
If they want you.
They want you. What else? Anything else? Like,
They got a good team.
lovely. Well, look, wish you the best of luck, and best of luck for off-season too, mate.
Have a good day. Enjoy the sun.
The reason I want to start off with Rodgers is I'll tie this kind of all together at the end after going over some of the Stafford stuff. But I think it's safe to say that the Steelers qualify for one of those two things. We're a good team. We're not elite. We're not great, but we're a good team, or however you want to categorize it, right? I can tell you this. We're not a bad team. We're not a bad organization. We're not a dumpster fire. We're good. I mean, we were the 6th seed last year in the AFC, so that's top 12, right? We're above the line. We're above average, good, however you want to categorize it. I think it fits in what Aaron Rodgers is looking for out of his next team. We're not bad, and bad is a way you could describe a bunch of these other teams that may be interested in Rodgers. Browns, Titans, Raiders, that type of Giants maybe. That type of organization, that type of team. Those are bad teams. Steelers, not there. Yes, we have our complaints about the Steelers, but I think we would fit what Rodgers is looking for. Now, the other thing, do the Steelers want him? That's something we just flat out right don't know. But I think we checked off the harder thing. Out of the two things that Rodgers needs out of his next team, we checked off the harder thing to be. Now it's just up to the team and whether or not they're actually interested. But I guess we'll find that out as the weeks and months go by here. But now let's talk Stafford, and I'll tie, again, Rodgers into this a little bit at the end. Stafford may actually be on the move from LA. Like, this isn't just talk. This isn't just rumors. The Rams are allowing Matt Stafford to seek a trade and gauge his value. This is according to Tom Pelissero. Like, all these reports on Stafford are coming from legit NFL people. And the first one, like the first domino, was end of last week. It came from Tom Pelissero on the Rich Eisen show. And he reported that Rams are letting Stafford test the waters.
That the Rams have been in conversations with his agent, that they've also given his agent permission to talk to other clubs and just figure out, hey, if he became available, if there were a trade, what would the numbers be elsewhere here?
Now, why Stafford being in a new uniform isn't necessarily a for sure thing is because the Rams still want Stafford back. And I think Stafford still would like to be a Ram because they got a good thing going with McVay. Even though they're going to be moving off of Cooper Kupp, they still got Puka Nacua. They're a solid team. And the NFC, it seems like recently has been pretty wide open year in and year out. You saw what happened with the Rams this season. They were a play or two away from defeating the Super Bowl champions on the road in Philly in the snow. So I think Stafford still wants to be back. He just wants to get paid. And I think what the Rams are doing by allowing Stafford to seek a trade and see what his value is almost similar to what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson was seeking his new contract. You remember that? They said, Lamar, you could go test the waters. Let us know what other teams are willing to trade for you and also what contract they'd be willing to give you if they did make a trade for you. And then come back to us. And I think the Ravens, what they were trying to do is just have other teams do their work for them, and then Lamar would come back with some sort of number, and then they would just match it. So I could see the Rams kind of doing that here with Stafford, but I could also see them just not willing to pay the price that other teams would maybe be willing to give Stafford out there, because reportedly Stafford's seeking $50 million per year deal.
This is a money issue, and Matthew Stafford wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth. He wants to be paid more than $50 million.
Which is very fair for the caliber of who Matt Stafford is as a quarterback. You look at some of these other bums that are getting paid $50+ million. Dak Prescott, $60 million. Tua, $53 million per year. Trevor Lawrence is getting paid $55 million per year. Jared Goff's getting like $52 million per year. Matt Stafford's a top 6 quarterback in this league. You got your big 4. You got Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. That's the big 4 right there. And I think you should put Jalen Hurts in that 5th spot at least. And then you're talking Matt Stafford at 6. Like, that's the top. I think that's the definitive top 6 right now. Can anyone debate that? And then probably 7, you're talking Herbert. And then, yeah, you round it out with, I don't know. I don't even want to get into the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks right now. But that's the top 6. That's the top 7, right? Is there – oh, maybe you have Jaden Daniels at 7. Actually, I'd probably put Jaden Daniels at 7 over Herbert, to be honest. I'd put Jaden Daniels 7, Herbert 8, 9. Who's 9? I don't know, maybe Stroud. But there you go. That's like the top 10. Stafford's top 6, right? He should definitely be in the top 6. Top 6, top 7. I don't really think there should be a debate there. So he's deserving of this contract. The only problem is, when does he get too old for that contract? When does his play decline to the degree where the contract becomes bad? And this is the conversations we were having with Cam Hayward last offseason. He was looking for an extension. He's like, I'm good to play for another 3 years. It's just that, bro, you're already like 35. I don't think it's a guarantee that you're going to play up to this contract. It's just there's not great precedence for it. Now, he outplayed the contract last year. He's been aging like fine wine, so shout out to Cam Hayward for that. Now, with Matt Stafford, we've seen quarterbacks play good into their late 30s. Like, some of these all-time quarterbacks play good into their late 30s, early 40s. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. It's just Stafford, he's unique in that he's always banged up. He's always been hurt, whether you're talking Detroit, whether you're talking with the Rams. So you just wonder, is it going to be one of these random years? Is it going to be next year where, man, he got old quick? He got really old quick. Is it going to be the year after that where you're just like, bro, man, we traded for Stafford. We gave him this contract. Whether you're talking about, again, the team that's trading for Stafford, or even the Rams bringing him back, whatever team has Stafford and is giving him this contract, you're thinking, we're hoping you're going to be around for at least 2 years, maybe 3. 4 would be probably pushing it, but we're building a plan. We're building something around you for at least the next 2 or 3 years, and we can't afford it, especially if we give you this contract, for you to just not be elite anymore, because we're paying you to be elite. That's the whole like sticking point, I think, with a lot of this. Now, the Steelers, you know, there's been talks that we're going to turn over every stone this offseason. Obviously, the front runners to come back are Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but they're also going to look into outside options. Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, some of these other names of Sam Darnold being in the mix. But we got further confirmation that Stafford's a legit option by Albert Breer. He said the Steelers, along with a bunch of other teams, are showing interest in putting their hat in the ring, which I'm good with. I'm pumped about. I told you guys my 3 options who I would be perfectly fine with having as the Steelers quarterback for 2025. It's either Fields, it's either Rodgers, or Stafford. So if the Steelers do really try to make a play for Stafford, I'm fine taking the risk, man. We got to take some swings. We got to take some risks. And then you see the type of cap space that we do have this offseason. Well, we could figure it out. We could make it work. We could make a trade for Stafford, and some are saying that the Rams are looking for a first-round pick, which that's a little pricey. I would hope that the con artist can bring that down to a second, maybe a third, and a next year's third. You know what I mean? Something like that. That's just some way we could get out of making it a first-round pick. But even if it was a first-round pick, say like Stafford's market is crazy. There's 2 or 3 different teams out there that are willing to pay him the contract he's seeking and are willing to give up a first-round pick. It just comes down to Stafford and what team he would want to go to. And maybe he would prefer the Steelers over some of the others like the Browns, et cetera, et cetera. So we end up making the trade. First round pick, Stafford, we give him the contract, $50 million per year over 2 or 3 years. I'm sure it wouldn't be fully guaranteed, so maybe they'd be out after the second year. We wouldn't be too stuck to that contract, too leveraged in that contract. But anyway, I would do it. If push came to shove, I would just do it. Like, that's Matt Stafford. You're getting a top 6 elite franchise quarterback. Even if it isn't for 4 or 5 years, I'll take the chance that you get it for the next 2 or 3. Because where else are we guaranteed at having an elite franchise quarterback anytime soon? Like, how else are we getting that? Our other 2 options, as I've proposed, is we re-sign Fields and hope he develops into that. We lean into an offense that fits his style and do some stuff like what the Eagles have done with Jalen Hurts. And Fields makes it happen. He becomes a top 10 quarterback, and he could be not only the now but also the future for the Steelers. The other one would be Aaron Rodgers, and you take the chance on you sign him, and it'd be for less money that you'd be paying Stafford. You wouldn't have to give up any assets, and you're just hoping Aaron Rodgers gets back to being Aaron Rodgers. That Jets year last year was a weird year for him. First year coming off the Achilles, part of a bad organization, weird coaching decisions, firing Saul in the middle of the season, all that's just chaos, and Rodgers still ended up throwing for 28 touchdowns, and he got better as the season went on. So what could he do in a new situation, a team with better structure? Like, those would be my 3 proposals in terms of getting an elite quarterback in here for 2025. That's it. I just don't see any other option, really. I don't see any other way. So Stafford's part of that, and if we think Stafford could still be that guy for next year and the next 2 or 3, make the trade. If not, if you feel like that's too much of a risk, giving up a first-round pick, giving up whatever draft pick it is, and paying him that type of money, then Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields. Not too complicated. I do like the fact that we are legitimately interested in Matt Stafford, though, as we should be. We should be looking and exploring at every option here. And the dude's a top 6 quarterback, man. Like, the dude can still play. Was a play away. It was a 4th down pass away from beating the Eagles on the road in Philly. Eagles players, Eagles defenders have said, man, the Rams Stafford, they gave us our toughest test throughout this season and in the playoffs. They almost had us, man. That was on the road in the snow. Come on, man. Against that Eagles defense, had no problem marching down the field. Got it to 4th down. Now they needed the touchdown. They ultimately didn't get it, but dude. Yeah, he can obviously still play, as opposed to what we saw from the Steelers and what we looked like in the playoffs and going up against legit opponents. We weren't one play away at the end of the game, because if we were, we wouldn't be talking like this. We would just bring back Russ. We would just run it back for the most part with what we got and add some pieces, build up through the draft, and hope that we could get things right. You would think we're close. We're not that far away. So if the ball bounces one way a little bit more in our favor next year, then we could be making a run. We could be in the Super Bowl. We're not far off. But that's not the sentiment. That's not what we look like at the end of the year. No, that's why Stafford's being brought up. That's why I think Rodgers should be a legitimate option. That's why Fields, we need to switch something up at quarterback. If we're going to go one of the in-house options, it can't be right. We got to go with Fields. We got to see what this dude has with the talent that he's got. We got to see if he could develop to be a franchise quarterback for us, because he showed us some pretty good signs when we were sitting at 4-2. But that's it for the show. And like I said, I guess I kind of tied it in at the end here, talking about Rodgers. Maybe it is just easier. It would just be easier to go Aaron Rodgers, just sign him. If you're talking about getting an all-timer, getting an older quarterback between a Rodgers and a Stafford, might just be more simple to get an Aaron Rodgers on a 1-year deal, $20-25 million, and instead of giving up assets, seeing what he's got, as opposed to trading. Because Rodgers maybe could even give you 2 years. Like Stafford, you're hoping for 3, right? 4 would be insane. 4 would feel like you're playing with house money. Rodgers could maybe give you 2. Brady played to 45. Rodgers at 41. I know Brady, it's a big outlier in all these quarterbacks, right? In the history of quarterbacks. But again, Rodgers is one of those type of guys. He's obviously not on Brady's level, right, in terms of all-time status and all that, but he is one of those all-time dudes. Keeps himself in good shape. Was still moving good last year. 28 touchdowns, can make every throw around the field. So I wouldn't put it past him. If the dude's motivated, if the dude still has that chip on his shoulder, the dude still wants to play, he's a competitor. I wouldn't be surprised if he played for another 2 or 3 years and was back at an elite level with a better organization, with a better structure, better system, all that stuff. So, it might just be easier to go the Rodgers route. And as I said on a show or two ago, we could build up this team no matter how you want to slice it. And that's why making this Stafford trade, you could backload the contract. You could figure things out. We could trade for a Stafford. We could still kill it in free agency. We could still pick up a receiver, pick up a defensive tackle, have a solid draft, even without a first-round pick. And we're kind of in win-now mode for 2025. With Rodgers, you could probably build your team up better. With Rodgers and Fields, you could build your team up better because you're not paying them as much and you're not giving up a draft pick to get them. So maybe that's the route. So, again, there's trade-offs. Those are my 3 quarterback options, but there's trade-offs. There's pluses and minuses for each of them. And we'll just have to see what decision the Steelers ultimately make. Free agency starts middle of March. And now is when things really start to heat up because of the combine. GMs, front offices, major players are going to be talking at the combine. And things are going to be getting ironed out. But, again, that's it for today's show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you make a trade for Stafford? What do you think it would cost? What would you be comfortable giving up? Do you think it would be worth it? Or would you rather just sign Rodgers? I know most of you wouldn't want to sign Rodgers, but would you rather sign Rodgers or sign Fields versus trading for Stafford? Or what other option is out there that you would actually consider? But, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Big D News. Stay chilling. Peace.